Hey, what's up? It's me, DeVikeO.
And your girl Qwueen.
It's the DeVikeoLive Show, Stew Takeover of the DeVikeoLive Show, I should say. This is going to be an all-new series. It's unscripted. It's candid. It's, did I say unscripted? I did. That's right.
Very much so.
I'm used to having a teleprompter in front of me so I can read and see what's going on. But now we're scratching all that. We want to bring you guys something that's all new, that's just fun. And what we're going to be talking about?
The flight attendant life. Everything concerning flight attendants. What you need to know, do's and don'ts, and everything else.
So keep it locked right here. Make sure you guys go to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's the Stew Takeover. It's the Stew Takeover. All right, let's get it right. It's the what? The Stew Takeover of the DeVikeoLive Show. Make sure you guys subscribe. Hey, what's up, guys? It's me, DeVikeO of the DeVikeoLive Show, and this is something special that I'm doing. Something completely different, something that's just off the wall. This is an unscripted show. This is all about flight attendants. It's going to be the Stew Takeover. I got my good friend Tiffany here with me. What's up?
What's up, y'all? What's up?
She's going to be known as the one and only Qwueen. So anytime that you guys hear me reference Qwueen, that's exactly who I'm talking about.
Hi.
So what I decided to do, many of you know, some of you don't know, but I am a flight attendant by day, talk show host by night, brother, dog dad. I'm a few different things, but most importantly, I am a flight attendant. And I know it's a lot of people out there that are interested in just talking to flight attendants, seeing what we go through on a daily basis, seeing how we operate. You know, the things that you see whenever you're flying on a plane, you see the smile. All you see is a smile, but you're not knowing what we actually be thinking of what we're going through. So I wanted to just showcase what flight attendants go about, how we pack, different things like that. So that's what this show is all about. And we'll just start introducing ourselves. Qwueen, tell the people about yourself.
Yeah, so as you know, guys, as you know, DeVikeO said, we are flight attendants. I am currently a flight attendant of total 4 years. With my second and final carrier. Dun, dun, dun. It's been amazing. The journey has been great. We've had some great experiences along the way. Definitely learning experiences for the better. It's been a trying time, you know, when you first start out. A lot of people don't know, you know, when you're on the outside looking in, it looks extremely glamorous, and which it does become glamorous, but when you first start out, it's not always that way. For most people, it is a culture shock. I know for me it was first starting out. I don't know about you, but...
Listen, it took a while because I'm thinking that I'm just going into a job, but I'm really getting into a different lifestyle, just a different way of living.
For sure. I mean, the lifestyle in itself, it kind of like takes you back.
To take you back to what? When you say take you back, what are you thinking about? Like college days or?
Yeah, like college days.
Okay.
College days for sure. I mean, always on the go, the unpredictability of it all,
yeah.
The up and down schedule changes, the different climate changes, because like me, I hate the cold, so...
She's freezing now, and in the studio it's like, what, 78 degrees. I feel good.
No, it actually feels good in here.
Now
outside. Outside is a different story, but yeah, you know, different personalities.
That much is true.
You know, you're not working with the same people every day. It's not like walking into an office and you get to know someone on a personal level. But I will say the training experience is unforgettable. You make lifetime friends just from one time working with them.
Yeah.
You can make a lifetime friend just from that. But yeah, it teaches you discipline for sure. I can say that much. I used to be a person that was always late.
Always. And you your bills depend on you being on time.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll just say that. You can't afford to be late.
At all.
Because let's just say, for example, I'm working the first flight of the day. Qwueen here, she's working the second flight of the day. She's picking up the plane that I'm bringing in. So if I'm late, now I'm messing up her day and going to cause her to be late. So the moment that you're late, it's just like a ripple effect on down. The same thing with myself. This is my second and final carrier that I'm with now. And like Qwueen was saying about having a memory, I still remember my training, my very first training from 2015, just like it was yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Remember how I was when I flew in before training even started. Remember the people that I was close to. Remember the people that I wasn't even really communicating with, but I remember every single person, their faces, how we were all nervous, and things like that. Now, what did you do before you became a flight attendant?
So before I became a flight attendant, I started off as a banker and worked my way up within my company. And it was great. It was a good paycheck. But I had reached a peak and a point within my career where there was nowhere else for me to go. And it became too routine for me.
Right.
And when I found out about flight attendants, now mind you, years before that, before I got into the finance industry, I worked part-time for like 8 months for a, what do you call those? Those outside carriers?
The, like, outsources?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like an outsourced carrier. And I worked as a customer service agent and a ticketing agent for like different airlines. And that lasted about 8 months, only because, of course, the pay wasn't great. There really weren't any benefits. I was just trying to gain the experience because I've always had my eye on the airline industry, but never specifically a flight attendant, because I'm a small girl, I'm petite. So I thought I was always too short.
Funny thing is, so me and Qwueen have worked together on the flight, and just watching her close some of the bins.
Don't judge me. Don't.
Didn't you stand on the seat at one point to close it?
I sure did.
Yeah, okay. Back to what you were saying.
I'm just saying, you got to do what you got to do.
Things happen.
You fake it till you make it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I went ahead and I was doing that for about 8 months. And people will always try to recruit me. Now, there was this one airline specifically. I had she was the accountant for the airline. And her parents were checking in on the airline that I was working for. And she came to me afterwards and she's like, my parents told me how wonderful you made them feel and how well you took care of them. Are you interested in coming over to this airline? And I'm like, really? So she's like, I'm going to tell you when we open up and go ahead and apply. Just right when I was about to apply, there was a hiring freeze.
Wow.
So I was like, you know what? I really can't stay in this environment anymore, the specific company. So I ended up leaving and I got into the finance industry and it came full circle again. The opportunity presented itself.
Yeah.
And this time for a flight attendant, I was like, you know what? I could do this. Like, I'll try out. And it was my first airline. It was with Frontier. And trust me, I went into it not knowing what a flight attendant responsibilities were.
One of the free benefits. I hate to say it.
I didn't know about the benefits. I didn't know about anything. I just knew it was an opportunity for me to learn and step out of my comfort zone. And I'm typically a shy person.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. So I was like, this is a chance for me to step out my comfort zone and challenge myself. So that's what I did. I went into it blindly. And trust me, after I interviewed and got, offered the job, on my way to training, I'm thinking, what am I getting myself into? I have no idea what I'm getting myself into. But once I got to training tests your faith, your strength.
your weaknesses,
your physicality,
like
your weaknesses, your social skills. It tests you on so many levels. But trust me, I came out a different person.
Yeah.
And I'm truly grateful for that experience because it prepared me for so many other experiences. It prepared me for the airline that I'm at now. And I was able to, step out of my comfort zone and experience a new me just from that experience alone. And I hear that from a lot of other flight attendants. That training experience.
It's hardcore. It's I wouldn't say hardcore. It's more so, like you said, it is a testing experience. It really breaks you down to build you back up.
It's a mind over matter type thing.
Yeah, it's almost like a little boot camp.
It is.
Almost.
It is.
Almost to an extent. But every trainer that I've experienced just from the 2 airlines that I've been with have always been caring and loving.
Always.
And making you smile. And sort of like Qwueen here, pretty much same experience for me, except for I was in the insurance sales business.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I didn't deal with people physically. Everything that I did was pretty much over the phone. So you're sitting up on the phone all day talking to people. I did that for 2.5 years. Funny story, last night, I decided to go back and look at my resume. And I looked at every job that I've had before I got into the aviation industry and realized how unhappy I was at all of these jobs. Mm-hmm. I used to do Sylvester the Cat at Six Flags, cartoon character. I did that show. I was a manager at Six Flags. I worked for a car rental agency. All while I was in college, I was an assistant manager for KFC. From there, I transferred over into my first sales job in the insurance, and then, of course, got with Nationwide, which was the pay.
Nationwide is on your side.
I'm so sick of hearing that. But the pay was amazing. I will say that Tiara, big shout out to you, because I always tell her she's the one. She's my best friend. She's the one who got me into the aviation industry at the time. She went over to an airline. She always talked to me into trying to get in, and I told her, like, I got too much experience management wise to be going to be a flight attendant. Mm-hmm. But I went to her graduation in Vegas, and just seeing how happy she was, the people that she was training with, everybody was just smiling, and these were genuine smiles.
Yeah.
And just she was in it for a year before I even started applying. And the moment I started applying, I went to about five interviews, and I was supposed to start training September 15th, 2015. I want to say that's the day, somewhere in that ballpark. But on the 14th, I had my interview, same airline with Frontier, and all day event. I'm talking about, I flew in the night before. They paid for my hotel, paid for my flight.
Yep.
We got there at like 7 in the morning. I didn't leave until 5 p.m., but they told me I got the job on the spot.
Yeah, that's what I loved about it.
But my other airline, I was supposed to go to training the next day. So I told my mom, I said, if I get it, I'm not going to the airline. Ooh. But if I don't get it, I need for you to go to, Macy's, and I need for you to get the black polos, the uniforms that they have you wear those training. So she was on standby. So when, I would never forget it, when I got the CJO, which is conditional job offer, I called my mom and I was like, I think you need to go to Macy's. And she was
Shout out to Mama.
Right. And she was like, I'm sorry, because that was the cue that I did not get Frontier.
Yeah.
And I was like, yep, go to Macy's and get me an outfit because we about to celebrate because I got the job with Frontier.
Nice.
And so it worked out. So I was able to come back, give my job a 2 weeks notice. That was probably the toughest day of my life, to walk in. Because the job, once you give you a 2 week notice, they just say, just go ahead and go, don't worry about fulfilling the 2 weeks. So I gave my 2 weeks notice. I walked in, but at that point, I've had it up to here with my last job. Just sales isn't the best. Everything you do from the 1st through the 30th, great. But the 1st of the next month, none of that stuff matters. And from there, I was walking into my new destiny. Like you say, you don't know what to expect. I just know I had to memorize 12 pages worth of stuff, city codes, terminology. Freaking announcements that still play in my head to this day.
Now, I will say this. Those announcements, they graded you legit.
Word for
word.
Yeah.
So you had to have it verbatim.
And that's the first airline.
That's with Frontier.
Imagine having to go to another airline, learning a completely different announcement in 2 weeks. that's completely opposite.
Totally opposite.
But check this. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about more about our experiences as a flight attendant. And it's me, DeVikeO, with the one and only Qwueen.
Yeah.
It's the Stew Takeover. Keep it locked.
Hey, you guys enjoyed what you've seen so far? Please check out the Stew Takeover on the DeVikeoLive Show. Make sure you subscribe.
All right. Welcome back. No, not just kidding. This is just a little commercial break real quick. Are you subscribing to this channel? If not, you need to go ahead and do so. Also, while you're subscribing, get on over there on all of your social media, Facebook, Instagram. Everything is going to be at the DeVikeoLive Show. Get all the updates. You definitely don't want to miss out on anything that we're doing. You never know what we'll be. So go ahead, subscribe, like, share, tell all your friends right now. It's the DeVikeoLive Show. Let's get back into the action. Welcome back. This is the Stew Takeover of the DeVikeoLive Show. It's me, DeVikeO. It's her.
The girl Qwueen.
You already know. So we've been talking about why we became a flight attendant, things that we did before. But now some of you just don't have the patience. Some of you don't have the patience. Qwueen, I'll let you take over from there.
Alrighty, so it does take a lot of patience to consider yourself being in this field of aviation. Just remember, you're dealing with different personalities, first of all, that you work with. Number two, the many different personalities that step aboard on that aircraft. There's so many different characters. You have pleasant, sweet, grumpy, mad, frustrated, and just over it type of attitudes. And you have to learn to adapt and cope with each and every one of them. You do have to exercise patience when speaking to your fellow crew members and also to the passengers. I mean,
it's crazy. It's definitely crazy. And I think what a lot of people have to realize is that they aren't mad or upset with you as the flight attendant.
Most of the time.
It's the situation or somebody that they may have encountered prior to. But there have been plenty of times where I've changed the person's attitude the moment they step on the plane because I then take control of the situation and kind of make the best of it. But some people, like I said, you got to have that patience and make sure that you are aware that it's not you. It's the situation that's out of your control, but you have the authority and the ability to change that situation around.
Yeah, I mean, from the minute that you clock into work, it's kind of like a switch turns on. And you know that you have to put on that hat, that coat,
Costume.
And know that, okay, here, I'm here at work. From the moment, that passenger steps on the aircraft, your hello can change their attitude.
Yeah.
You just giving eye contact and giving a warm smile and your tone of voice can totally shift a person's demeanor, whatever they were mad about or frustrated about, whether the kids were acting up at the gate, whether they had to run to the gate because they were running late, whether, they had to throw away some clothes or some shoes because their bag was overweight, whatever the reason may be, the minute they step on board, your smile and your hello can change it all.
And sometimes it's not even on board. It's been plenty of times where I met somebody who's on my plane on the train to get to the concourse.
Yeah.
And I change their attitude based off of my interaction. Mm-hmm. The way that I say it is the moment that I get out of my car in the parking lot, once you're in this, I'll say it's almost like a bubble that you walk in, if you will. Just because no matter if you're walking solo or in a group, everybody stops and watches you just to see. I don't know why people are just so fascinated in the train that's behind us, i.e. 3, 4, 5 bags, depending on who the flight attendant is. They just love seeing us walk past, and I don't understand why. Even especially kids. I do try to interact with kids as much as possible, even though some of them are very icky, sicknesses and snotty noses and whatnot. But overall, I do love the kids. But lo and behold, like I said, you have to put on that fake smile, if you will, from the moment that you get in front of somebody. Even when I go to Walmart. And I wear my uniform at Walmart.
I was just speaking to a flight attendant about that. I was like,
you're still on.
You're still on. Like, on my off days, I'm walking in the public.
Yeah.
And I'm walking in there. This is me walking into someone else's establishment, someone else's work area. And I'm like, hello, how are you? People are looking at me strange. And I have to remember, I'm not at work. But it becomes a part of you. Once you practice it every day, it becomes a really great habit and a good quality to have.
But before I became a flight attendant, I hate to say it, I didn't really have that quality of just
No, I didn't.
being nice and speaking to everybody. But
I
now
used to have a rude look on my face.
I was, what is it, RBF is what they call it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was, but now I'll be waiting in line. Can I help you with your bags? Can I put your bags up on the, and I'm like, I'm, at this point, I'm not even in uniform. I'm just in regular clothes, but it's just, like you said, that mindset. Speaking of patience more, now I don't know about you. My first airline, from the time that I applied to I started training was like maybe 3 months. But the airline that I'm with now, it took me exactly 1 year. 1 year from the moment that I applied to the moment that I worked my very first trip. 365 days exactly. To be honest, I totally forgot that I applied to the airline. I got the first call like 4 months later, and I'm like, who is this? Like, you sure I applied? Like, are you calling the right person? What about for you? Did it take about the same?
Well, for me, it was kind of different. It's unusual what happened for me, because with my first airline, I applied in December. I remember exactly December 16th. And then I interviewed, did phone interview, face-to-face, and got hired January 15th.
Oh, so less than a month.
Less than a month. And I went to training 2 weeks later.
Oh,
so that
your
happened
pace
pretty
was,
quickly.
Yeah. Who you know? She must know somebody.
And I knew no one.
Allegedly.
Now, for my current airline, same thing. It was I think it took about roughly 5-6 months from the time that I applied to the time that I was hired or ended training. Yeah, it took about 5-6 months.
Me, exactly 1 year. But the crazy part is people who I know who applied
the same exact time.
But they haven't even gotten the first phone interview yet. Mm-hmm. And this is, I applied back in 2018, February of 2018. Mm-hmm. And here it is, we're going into 2020, and they're still,
they still haven't called some folks. So the process can be lengthy. What I would say is, when you are applying or you get word that, hey, this airline is opening up for applications on this date, be sure to have your profile ready.
Yeah.
Be sure to know that the time that they are opening up the applications, be prepared just in case the website may crash, because literally thousands of people, imagine thousands of people are trying to apply for that same position at that very same time. Think of it as like Black Friday.
I would say Delta just recently opened up their application, and the first day they got over like 50,000 applicants. Mm-hmm. Just keep in mind that they may have 1,000 positions, and 50,000 people trying to go after these 1,000 positions. And I tell people who are a flight attendant, don't take that for granted. Like I feel honored to be a flight attendant, knowing that it's still thousands of people that have applied, trying to still get on. And I know a lot of people who didn't get on with the airline that I'm with now. And like I said, I just can't take it for granted. And nobody knows that formula. Nobody knows what it is to get you hired.
You know what? There isn't no exact formula. And, most people say that it's harder than getting into Harvard.
Yeah.
Because so many people apply and the ratio is so thin. So you have to think about it as, do your research. That's the best advice I can give you. When you there's so many people that want to just get into it so badly that they just go for anything.
And when they get into it, they're so unsuccessful.
And they're unsuccessful, they're either miserable, or it's not working out or working in their favor. And my best advice is to do your research. Know what you want, know what you're expecting out of whatever company that you're applying for, and go and give your best. The best thing you can do is be yourself.
Yeah.
Some people think, I have to have the right answers. Yeah, there's a formula, what they're expecting of you, but being yourself, you can't top it. Once you go in there and be yourself.
And like you said, also too, doing the research on the airline that you're applying to. The answers that may work for airline A may not be the same for airline B because they're two different cultures. And I will say that just from, like, Qwueen and I come from, we were at the same airlines, Frontier and who we're with now, but both airlines completely opposite in a way.
Yeah.
This airline that we're with now does let us, I will say, showcase our personalities in a way that previous airlines didn't, and some other airlines don't, which I think that's why I'm kind of happy to go to work all the time now. But yeah, just make sure that you guys do the research. And all the information you need to know is out there. It's on the company's website, speaking on their culture. So that's one good thing there.
I mean, there's so many factors that play into it too. You know, you have to figure out if their bases are either easily commutable for you or is in your hometown. Number two, you have to think about pay, which is important. You also have to think about benefits-wise. How are their medical benefits? How is their retirement benefits? What are, these factors that you're looking for? Flexibility. Certain things you have to think about. Reserve systems. Contracts.
Union, non-union.
Union, non-union. What is it that you're really seeking after? And are you looking for, a company where you're going to expect longevity? Or are you just looking for, for a short time or...
401k, retirement. Every company
all those
is
factors
different.
Play into it. And you don't realize how much of a demand or sought after career this is until you get into it.
Yeah.
Until you start applying, then you realize, oh wow, like there's a lot of people really interested in this.
The very first interview that I've ever went to, I remember that like it was yesterday. This was back before I even got with Frontier. I didn't do any research. It was United. I was not expecting for it to be 150 people in this room for an interview. I'm thinking that, okay, I got a call. They flew me in. Maybe, 3-4 people waiting in a waiting room. No, we went into this auditorium. And I'm like, all these people are going after the same position.
Yeah.
And I knew that I wasn't ready back then.
And it's kind of intimidating.
It really is. It really, because you're looking at yourself, at least I did. Like, man, they look this way. Am I up to par? This person looks like the recruiter. Like, do I fit this image in which they're trying to uphold? And I didn't give my all. Like I said, I didn't do research. I knew that I wasn't ready for the lifestyle back then.
Yeah.
But that's why we're doing this now, to give you guys a real insight of what it's like to be a flight attendant. This was just an opener, just to give you guys just some information on what we're going to be doing. Like I said, this is completely non-scripted, so we've just been going as we go. And that's kind of what I wanted, so that way you can get a candid look as to what us flight attendants go through. This is going to be it for this month. Coming back in January, we're going to be talking about our interview process. So one thing that I want to do is explain from the moment that we walked into that room, just the phone interview, what happened in the actual interview, how long we had to wait before we even got a job offer, and then from there, how long we had to wait before we even started training. In this series, we're going to be talking about commuting. We're going to be talking about living in base. For example, I commute. I'm based in Houston. She lives in Orlando, based in Orlando. She gets to drive to work. I have to drive to the airport to fly to Houston and all this mess. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about our the non-revving experience. Yes, we get free flights, but it's not always up to what it's not always what it seems to be.
Nope.
What else can we talk about on this series?
We can also talk about appearances.
Yeah.
How important that is, because we are the brand of the company. So appearances is definitely something you have to consider. Also,
I mean, it's so much that you can talk about, and that's why we'll just every month, like I said, we're just gonna come with something completely different.
yes.
And if you have any questions,
If you guys have any questions,
check the description below. It's the email there. Email us in DeVikeoLive Show @gmail.com.
Yep.
Just comment, let us know. We'll answer all your questions on the show. But before we go, this is the last show of the 2019 year. You got any New Year's resolutions?
I do. I'm trying to expand my avenues of income. So I'll be dibbling and dabbling into other things, gaining some certifications and stuff like that. Those are really my 2020 goals.
Yeah.
Trying to get business minded and really focus on that and, get this bag.
That much is true, and I'm trying to do the complete opposite. I think my 2020 resolution is to slow down. And it's funny, I was talking to my mom about that the other day. I was like, I work so much every month, and not just even flying, but just on all my projects and stuff that I'll be doing. But it's like, I feel like to stay busy is to keep you out of trouble. And I haven't gotten into trouble because I've been so busy. But that's one, and then another resolution is to travel more.
For sure. That I need to
see the
do.
world.
I have not taken advantage
I've
of
seen
that.
the U.S. I've seen so many cities here in the U.S., but really, and I think more so it's fear. Like, I don't want to get over there and get stuck. But then I look at some people, for example, big shout out to MJ. This guy,
MJ.
2 years, like 30 different countries in 18 months or some crazy number
MJ's
like that.
the GOAT, okay?
But he'll get you to wherever you need to go when you need to get there. But if I don't see you before then, which I won't, have a Happy New Year.
And a Merry Christmas.
And a Merry Christmas. I think, it's Christmas already passed. But Happy New Year. We hope you had a Merry Christmas.
Yes.
That's what it is. Get out there, write down your 2020 goals. Do a vision board. And you won't understand the power of the tongue.
It works.
Speak that thing into existence. You've done a vision board before, right?
I have. Yeah.
Did you do a party or did you do it like yourself?
For myself. 2019 was the first time I actually really put some real effort and thought into my vision board.
Yeah.
And most of what I placed on there has come to pass. So
Still when you can scratch it off and it's like,
when
I
you
did
can
that.
just tick it off, like, look how that works.
Maybe we could do that for the 2020 show.
We
do a vision board party for you guys while we talk about some more flight attendant stuff. This is DeVikeO and
Qwueen
with the DeVikeoLive Show, Stew Takeover. We'll see you guys next month. Happy New Year!